Welcome to another episode of A to the Show. I'm joined here with Said and Adam Torres. Look at us, the three of us. Two red ties today. And we're going to be talking about business and finance and money and how much money we don't have. Because all
That's a
I
good
want
way
to
to
do is
start,
buy,
Saidali.
I want to buy a house, bro. All I want to do is buy a house because, I really want to buy a house, have a family, just be normal. But that sounds impossible, bro. And I work full time, and I got this side hustle podcast going, and as they say, alhamdulillah, like I'm very lucky and grateful. I mean, my investments are going good. Bitcoin's shooting to the moon, but still, this with all the help from the crypto gods, I still can't afford a house. So I still have student loans, and I've been trying to pay them off for years now, and still haven't made a dent. So this is where we're at. Am I trapped, Adam? Is this it? Is this what it's like to be to be alive right now? It's like you're broke forever and then retire with nothing and own nothing.
It's possible. I mean, but I would argue that what you're doing right now with your podcast and creating episodes and focusing on IP, man, I think that's the way to go. And that's what I bank my chips on, by the way. And that's where I spend my time and my effort. And that's when I talk to people, anyone that'll listen and tell them about what's happening here.
Trust me, I share the vision. I think building something for yourself, your own business, you're being an influencer, that's, a great way to take control of your own life in a way. But at the same time, bro, not everyone can be an influencer. Not everyone can have a podcast. There's already way too many podcasts, and it's like, of course you can make your own podcast and find your own niche and succeed. I'm not trying to hate on people making podcasts, but it's like, you're telling me that you need to become a podcaster / influencer / CEO in order to afford a house. That's the only way we can do this right now.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I don't agree with the statement or the premise that there's too many. Most people that say that really haven't examined the numbers, even when they have their own show. So I'm going to give you some data, and you're welcome to shoot it down, but let me give you some data.
Let's go for
it. Over 150 million YouTube channels, less than 4 million podcasts. Of those 4 million, there's maybe 200,000 or so releasing episodes per week. When you think about podcasting as a whole, we're in year one of YouTube. So when you think about the amount of opportunity, there's people that are starting podcasts right now that maybe understand what I just said, maybe don't understand it, but that are going to create generational wealth. And I'll tell you why. So podcasts have only been around about 20 something years. So because of that, people think that they've been around a long time in the format of monetizing. Not correct. So podcasting grew out of radio. In radio, what can you monetize? A host read ad, a large show. Unlike YouTube, where you could, in the beginning, monetize small shows, so the pennies could start rolling in, which encourage small creators to the space on YouTube in the beginning, because you can make a little bit of money, even if it wasn't a lot, right?
Yeah.
So now you look at that and you think about what'll happen with podcasting now that is available. So something called ad attribution, the ability to sell a bit of downloads and then take that ad off and then put another ad on there. That's recent. That technology has not been around that long. So because of that, my theory and my thesis is that, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, there's going to be 100 million plus podcasts out there. And so the people out there right now that are thinking about it's too late to get in the game, they just have no idea what they're even talking about. I'm sorry, there's just not. And I'll give you some more reasons why. If there's that many YouTube channels, well, podcasting, especially the audio version. So right now, what you're working on right now, Riverside, you're fancy, you have all these other things. I started with audio only, and I did over 300 episodes on my iPhone, and I didn't even have a mic, and I uploaded those things and built an audience. So if you look at all these things, now take into account, I'm going to, for example, in the next month or two to Africa to shoot a series out there. It's called Africa Forward. Now, when you think about the 2G, the 3G phones, the phones that cost, let's say, $20, you can record a podcast on those. So now you're unlocking hundreds of millions of people. And in terms of the platform as a whole, period. And now thinking about the advertising, the sponsorship, all of that, the inventory is like there's not enough inventory for as many people that would want to advertise on podcasts. And the numbers on that, I haven't looked at those recently, but billions of dollars are now in this industry for advertising. So does that go circle back to what you said? Does everybody have to do this? No, but why would I say somebody should? Because if what I just now said makes sense to you, if you think YouTube year one and you knew what YouTube was going to be right now, for some of you listen, this is the first time that you've ever had the inside edge on anything that you could actually do yourself, take advantage of. And what do you got to do? An episode a week? You're good. Audio only. You don't even have to be fancy like what you guys are doing. You guys are fancy. You don't even have to be fancy, but you can participate.
I think I like that train of thought. I thought yesterday, like if I were alive 1,000 years ago, you know what I'd do? I'd buy some Bitcoin because then I would be a bajillionaire right now. And I do see us as like, we've been doing this podcast for 5 years, and now we're finally, like getting in a good groove of it. And
that's amazing. How many episodes are you in, if you don't mind me asking?
Maybe
over 500 now.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. So that catalog that you're building, I like to say, how they have like the flywheel effect, like anybody wants to look that up, look it up. But like the flywheel effect, what happens is over time, media compounds. So what'll happen is, and it doesn't happen at the same rate for everyone, but I would argue, and I don't have this data, but because I just never looked at this piece of it, but looking at like how many shows out there are actually over 500 episodes, none as far as I'm concerned. They have 0.0 whatever, like none.
Dab
so you guys
are, you can dab.
I will.
I'll give us a plug.
We earned it, bro. No, we totally earned it. But
yeah,
it seems like harder nowadays to even just like do your own thing. I'm very lucky. We're very lucky that we're so passionate and we've just gone through it and put in the work, and now we're reaping the benefits, of course. But
that's awesome.
To people out there who don't have anything right now, who don't have a business, who don't have I know so many people who don't even have jobs right now.
Yeah.
Like so many people in all kinds of industries, tech, film and TV. I live in Los Angeles. Hollywood's pretty much been dead for such a long time. And I mean, all computer, all the kind of industries right now are suffering and mass layoffs. So what are people supposed to do if they have zero, if they have nothing?
Yeah. Well, first off, it's a tough situation, for sure. Like that's not to belittle or make it seem like it's a small thing, because it is tough for many out there. But one thing I talk about, and I tell people this often, is document. So meaning I don't really like the word. You're right, by the way. You're accurate. Many people do use the word influencer and in the nowadays term. The nowadays term means maybe followers, other things like that. I look at being influential, and you can be influential in your space, and you can lead, and you can help others even when you're not, on top in terms of numbers or followers or things like that. So just an example, like our entire platform was designed on creating a place that other people could tell their story. So if we had gone, let's just say, the influencer route, what we would have done is just taken all the money that we made and we would have put into marketing and ads. And then everybody that we could possibly put an ad in front of would know who Adam Torres was. It's not our business model. It's not what we're trying to do. Our tagline, we amplify stories. The reason why I've done over 6,000 interviews wasn't for me to be an influencer. The reason was because we had demand to come on the show. And in the beginning, the early days, we just didn't want to say no. Plain and simple. We're like, we got bandwidth, do another episode, do another episode, do another episode. And we put out more and more content because every single interview that we did was a form of us fulfilling our mission to help others and to amplify their stories and really to spread love. So getting back to your question, with the gig economy, other ways to hustle, other ways to make money, whether it's Uber, whatever it is, Uber Eats, all these other things, I personally think you combine that with documenting the story through whatever your channel is. Could be a podcast, could be Instagram, could be whatever, but authenticity does ring true. And I'll tell you what, you go out there and you share your story, And there's a lot of other people going through it that maybe want to see that same story and that are going to gain inspiration from what you're doing as well. And that could be, hey, I'm looking for a job. and I've been all kidding aside, all kidding aside, I've had people on this show during this, and they're talking about documenting their story, exactly what I'm talking about. I didn't come up with that idea, by the way. This is from me interviewing people. I get to see other things, and I've had every different type of thing from that to even when, you know, everything, of course, Palisades, the fires, all of that happened, like people documenting that. There's so much good that has come out of people documenting and creating content around that, whether it's funds being created, whether it's communities coming together, like all these other things. And I'm not really trying to be a silver lining type person. I'm just saying that, which I am on that bent, but I'm just saying that when you start looking through different lenses and thinking about, okay, last time I ran out, got a job, I didn't get it now, or I got it, right? And things didn't work out. So maybe consider adding an entrepreneurial side thing to your hustle or to whatever you're doing, if it's not going to be your full-time thing, because what you did last time didn't necessarily work. So try something a little bit different. Maybe do both, get a job and get a side hustle or start a business.
Said, your prime
Yeah, I wanted to
example.
about the concept of like documenting your journey. I understand like from a media perspective that attention is like the main currency nowadays for people who want to do their side
Mm-hmm.
hustle or they want to work on their own projects. But what about for people who like who really despise or like not despise but don't dislike the
Mm-hmm.
being the center of attention, you know? They
Yeah.
don't want to show their face, they don't want to necessarily show themselves to the public like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is everyone just forced into that? Like, is everyone is forced to become an extrovert in those situations?
I don't think so. We've been talking about a lot about podcasting because we're obviously on a podcast, and that's what
Yeah.
I do. But I think there's different ways to authentically build your personal brand. Many people do it without having to be like. It doesn't mean you have to start being on video. For example, when I started in this, I was so scared to be behind a microphone or anything else. I didn't even. I'm world's worst podcaster, world's worst anything. I didn't even use my real name. Like I was so frightened that people wouldn't find out it was me like doing this. Like that doesn't even make sense looking back. I didn't turn on a camera until after 1,500 interviews. Cause if you turn one on, I would literally like go blank. I'm like, what's my name? I couldn't even say my name straight. So I'm not saying that people have to turn into extroverts. That was actually when I decided I would be full time in this business. That was something, the decision I made, and I went that route, right? But
Mm-hmm.
everybody doesn't have to. When you're thinking about building your personal brand and or creating content, you can look at different types of mediums. So what it comes down to is, how are you going to add value? Like, how are you going to add
Yeah.
value to the marketplace? So, and what are you going to do? You're going to create an AR, maybe an AI avatar? Are you going to create are you going to create something else where you're going to be giving content away? You can ebooks. You can give away ebooks. You can write. You can if some people have written under a pen name and not use their real name. But the thing is with that nowadays is when you think about the authenticity side, people will look at a little bit weird. Like, why is this person writing under their own name? Or what are they trying to hide? Or is this authentic? Is it not? But that's because the audience wants somebody, they want to feel closer to the person that's creating the content. But does it mean you have to be an extrovert? I don't think so. Like you can figure out different ways to add, but it's value. It's value. It's how are you going to add value to the marketplace is what it comes down to. And whatever way, shape, and form that is. I will say though, for those that are extroverted and have the ability, I'm not. So not naturally. So the people that could wake up and they could share everything about their life and all the bad that's happening and all the good and everything. And those people tend to build many times can sometimes hit a wave on building a following or something else a little bit faster than some others.
Yeah.
But it can be done. It can be done. It's just a matter of figuring out how you want to do it and what you're comfortable with. Because if you're inauthentic and if you're forcing yourself to do something that you don't want to do, it's not going to work anyway. It's not going to work.
Just it's kind of like have you need to have the repetition and to get the hang of it if you're not used to if it's not something natural to you.
Yeah, that's my case for sure. Like you could look at it two different ways. I could be either decent at podcasting because I've done over 6,000 episodes, or I could be the world's worst podcaster because I've done over 6,000 episodes and I don't have Joe Rogan numbers. So I don't know. It just depends on how you're reading the data, man. It just depends on how you're reading the data. I tell my friends that all the time. I'm like, well, thank you. I'm doing decent, but I could also be considered the world's worst. Like, dang, how many do you have to do?
When do you catch a break? Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I think for our case, we're also waiting for our big break. Not waiting, we're pursuing it.
Yeah.
And like we always constantly reassure ourselves that it's gonna come, you know. If it's we don't know if it's like false hope or if it's actually something that's gonna be achieved, but we don't we keep doing it. It's like you can't stop. Plus, we've already been doing it for 5 years, and it's also much easier than when we first started. So there's no point of quitting at this point, because it doesn't take much time. There isn't it's not as hard as it used to be. You're already stuck in mud, and you're
Okay.
already
I
we can do
love this
3 podcasts
mindset,
in a week.
Saeed.
Yeah, I mean, we literally
No,
have
you
3 podcasts this
joking.
week,
You
and
might
we
think
can. It's fine. We don't
Let me
we don't
explain
give a shit.
something to you. This is so good. One of our profit centers. So one of the things my company does is so there's a media side, but then there's an agency side. So we've launched over 250 shows on the agency side, and these people like you mentioned, you're in Hollywood, so everybody there that has an idea or all these other things they're pitching. Well, when somebody comes to me like an entrepreneur and they're like, "Hey, I have this idea, blah 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 blah," and I'm like, all I'm interested in is the show that you can do in your sleep. I want you to be able to roll out of bed and do this show, because if you can't, you're going to quit. And I'll tell you why you're going to quit. If business gets too good from the show, you're going to quit because you don't have time. If business gets really slow and there's a real downturn, now you don't have money to pay for production, you're going to quit. So you're going to have to always, and if you create this complicated show concept that's going to be hard for you to pull off and that's going to take hours and hours and hours of prep every week, then you're going to have to be in this perfect sweet spot in order to be consistent. And it ain't going to happen. Period.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going to quit, whether it's in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, you're going to quit. So I'll save you the headache now. Give me the show that you can do in your sleep, because I don't want you to have to think about it. I'm working with an orthopedic or a cardiovascular. No, he's an orthopedic surgeon, and he's super, super busy, and he's got all these other things going on. And I'm like, nope. Oh, okay, I know you want to do that show. Nope, yeah, it's going to take too much prep for you. You're not going to do it. You're going to be busy. Other things happen, and the problem is, once you miss an episode in a week for your audience, if you've given them the commitment that you're going to do one per week, once you've done that, podcast listeners are very creatures of habits. And I know you guys know that, because every time you release an episode, you see your numbers, downloads go up, and then it goes right back down. Whatever the number down is doesn't matter, whatever that median is. Yeah. But when you release, when it's going to happen. And so they're creatures of habit. So as soon as you don't release when you say you're going to release, you broke a little bit of trust. And we know how long it can take to earn somebody's trust and how easy it is to lose that trust. So what happens with podcasting is you got to be consistent. It's going to take some time. But the other part, and this is where people have the unrealistic expectation, and is when you look at they don't compare apples to apples. So I'll give you just one. Let's do some very simple math, very, very simple math. You go, if you have 10, to the new podcast listeners out there, you got 10 people listening consistently every week. And let's just say you got an hour episode, just to make the math easy. So you just got 600 minutes of somebody's life. That's insane. You got 10 hours from those 10 people. Now, if you put out an Instagram post and you get 100 likes, or whatever your size of your account is, or let's just even say you got 1,000 likes, how long did that take them to hit that little button? They don't care about you. I'm sorry. They're not your loyal audience. They're not like tuning in. They're not going in with you. I would take those 10 people that listen to me every week, any day of the week, over 100 likes on Instagram that took up less than 100 seconds for somebody to like. I'd rather get those 10 hours of somebody's life that they've given me, because that's building a real bond and a real relationship. That's a one to many building of a relationship. And so sure, it takes a little bit longer, and it does take a little bit of more effort from the standpoint of mental effort of being like, what, there's only 10 people listening to this. 10 people, is this even worth my time? Or maybe your show has 100 and you're like, there's only 100 people listening to it, whatever, or even 1,000. There's only 1,000 depending on the size of the show, right? And depending on somebody's long's been doing it, and depending on what their expectations are. But I'll tell you this, if you have 100 downloads in your show and you're doing an hour-long episode, that's equivalent to a lot of hours. And it's equivalent to sitting in front of 100 people and doing a keynote, because you have their time and they're giving you a full hour. So those 100 people, instead of watching a Netflix episode that costs $50,000 or $500,000 production value for one particular episode, they're listening to your show. So it's having respect for your craft and understanding the audience. And once you get that, then you're like, oh my gosh, like this is insane that you get to do this. Like you're like, man, all these people are listening. It's amazing. And again, the number doesn't matter. It could be 10 people, 10 hours. I mean, looking at the basic of basic, 10 people listening to an hour-long show, that's 10 hours of their life they gave you.
So that made me emotional. That was really good, Adam.
Why did it make you emotional, Saeed? What
I
emotions
mean,
are you feeling?
to be honest, that really put me back in the mindset that like we're actually doing it, and I think we haven't had that we haven't had that conversation in a while. And I mean,
Yeah.
thank you, Adam, for saying that, because like you really now just like put us in the right mental space again. I like I needed to hear that personally. I need to hear that. I don't know about Ali, but for me, I needed to hear that. And I guess this goes back to the concept of just being grateful for what you have and reminding yourself that if there's change, like if you're improving from when you first started till now, just keep going, keep doing it. There's like you're already on the right path. So
And then growth curve, I'll give you the growth curve. And these aren't my words. There's many other people that have said this and attested to this, is specifically podcasting. And I don't know why or how. If enough people say that that's the data, I'm not trying to fact check it. I just I get it, and it doesn't hurt. And this particular data makes sense to me, actually, just logically. And so they say that podcasts grow. It's a hockey stick. So a show will start to grow a little bit at a time. And at some point, like all the big shows, they say it just blew up, like it just took off. And it kind of makes sense to me, because if you think about it, like let's just say you have a particular episode that does good, or there's like something that happens, and now word of mouth, like friends are usually telling other friends about shows. And so you'll know your friend's other like show or this or that, and you may not have listened to it once, but you know the show just because your buddy's always talking about it, right? But at some point, there's kind of like this tipping point to where it's like, man, he's been telling me about this show. Okay, I'm gonna listen to an episode, send it to me, I want to hear that one, right? And then all of a sudden you look at a show like yours and you got 500 episodes. So now you have this catalog, and people push play, and now they start binging, and they start listening to it. And what happens is, over time, that can compound. And that's what makes sense for me for the hockey stick, especially when you have a podcast listener, a person that listens to many podcasts. Like that's a very specific type of person. And once you kind of get to that part of the audience and not just the casual listener, that's when it makes sense to me that hockey stick would kick in, and all of a sudden those numbers grow really fast, really quick. But that's the growth curve of many of the larger shows. They all say kind of the same thing, and I've heard different interviews or things like that. So here and there, I'll just hear somebody say that, and I'm like, oh, that's the hockey stick. That's the hockey stick. And I've been hearing about this for at least, I don't know, 5 years or so, and that's just the case. Like at some point, it just boom, it just grows. But I don't, and for our newer hosts or our hosts that are in there, like, well, when does that happen or how does that? I'm like, it's not the point. The point is you getting better. And so when I started in this business, when I knew I was in finance originally 14 years. And then when I moved to this business, I took the same seriousness that I had in finance and studying in this business. So I went back to really the beginning of entertainment, at least modern entertainment. So all the way to like vaudeville, like all these things. Like I started studying all of it and reading all the biographies I could get my hands on. I mean, we're talking, 7,000 plus pages of like content, at least, maybe more. But and some of the greats that kind of stick out to me that talk about this is like Howard Stern, and he had a comment or a quote where he's like, when he was working in these smaller markets and the radio stations, he didn't know it then, but he knows it now. He was developing his voice to be a person that was worth listening to. So when he got to the bigger markets, it was game on. He didn't use the word game on, but we obviously know what happened after that. And then you look at like Seinfeld had his own thing. I think David Letterman too. They all had variations of, and I'm paraphrasing, but saying something along the lines of they did it for themselves. They weren't doing it for the audience. They were amusing themselves. They did it for themselves, and that's why they were able to break new ground in entertainment. And David Letterman had his own version of that. Seinfeld had his own version of that. So once you do that, it takes the pressure off of you. It's like, that's it. It's like, okay, as long as you enjoy what you're doing, and even if you don't, do it anyway. There you go.
This makes you feel inspired a bit. I can see the tear coming down your eye, bro.
Okay, it's not that dramatic. Let's just chill a bit. But yeah, it is bringing back, like it's a nice surge of energy to get for yourself to hear those comments and to reassure yourself, like, you're doing something you like. Even if right now nothing is happening, just keep doing it, because if you just have to kind of like reshape your mentality on what is motivating you. Because if you're just currently motivated by about your viewership and like how many people smash the like button or share or whatever, then you're not. It's like it's a very like it's kind of like an addiction, and it's terrible. It's a terrible feeling, really bad. But if you change your mindset to more of like, oh, I am constantly improving, and by the way, like I look at it when I say like this, that you look at yourself as constantly improving. This is a selfish thing to do, but this is something I used to say when I was young, and I completely forgot about it. That there's nothing wrong with being selfish at times. You gotta be you gotta be selfish in certain moments in your life so that you can also become better, which then kind of like can be useful to society. You have to be selfish in a certain part of your life so that you can improve and then be useful. Because if you think that you're constantly selfless, in reality you're actually going to be more harmful than useful. That's the thing. So for a certain period of time, when you're starting out, be selfish, not in a way where you're don't be an asshole, but be selfish in the point where you want to make yourself a better person. And then once you've reached a certain level of experience or prestige, or not prestige, but like you have that experience where you can give back, then just do that. And yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is like sometimes you just got to be selfish, and there's nothing wrong with it.
And that's what those guys said, by the way, when David Letterman was like breaking new ground in like in late night TV. Like he was inventing a new format for the most part, building on what was already there, but like they weren't doing that for the audience. They were entertaining themselves. If they weren't selfish from the standpoint of entertaining themselves, if they were sitting around thinking about or had a focus group about, will the audience find this funny? Ain't gonna work. It's not going to work. So in this particular, I can't speak in other formats, but I can speak on what I know of podcasting in this format. Yeah, for sure. Like, and those people, and if not, also, if you're not entertained and if you're not having fun, then ultimately there's a lot of other things you can do that aren't fun, right? This shouldn't be one of them. Like find something, you know.
Yeah, because in the end, this is also your life. It's like you want to do something that is fun for yourself. Like
Yeah.
if you're if you're just constantly, bored out of your mind or just hating what you're doing, then what the fuck are you doing?
You're going to work. That means you're
That's the
going to
question you should
work.
ask yourself. Oh man.
It's funny.
Yeah. That's the main question, I guess. What the fuck are you doing? That's what do you think, Ali? What
Okay, my opinion on you said being selfish. For me, I don't see it that way. I see it as I I see a lot of people who are very successful but
Mm,
not happy.
mm,
There's a lot of people that have
hmm
made it and do have everything that you dream of having, and they're always not happy with it. You know,
mhm,
I was reading the statistic about like how like all these bodybuilders who are in amazing shape, they all have like body dysmorphia and they're very upset and they don't like their own bodies. And I look at them like, wow, this guy's shredded. It's like I'll do anything for that. But then once he has it, he's just depressed. You know, and it's such a weird thing. So I don't know, things like that made me reframe the thing into loving the journey, being happy, just being getting better every single day. To
mm,
me, this is the destination. I don't. Obviously we keep going and we keep channeling and
mhm.
developing ourselves, but I'm happy right now. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with just being on such a roll in life,
Yeah.
just always doing better every single day, having fun with it, spending time with my friends, living the best life. Honestly, it doesn't get better than that. And I personally am not fixated on when will the big break happen, or when
Mhm.
will I become a millionaire, or when will I own a house, but it's gonna happen 100%. It is gonna happen. And just so we made it. That's how I see it.
Mm, mm.
That's my point of view.
Yeah. I'm in for the collaboration side of it too. It's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting to think what we're able to do and just like the tools we have now. Like it's insane. Like any given day, if I'm doing like when I'm doing interviews, I mean, I might start the day in like London, then Dubai, then Brazil, then all like in one day. It blows my mind to be able to like go around the world in one day and to be able to meet with different, cultures, individuals, and like and to collaborate. I mean, I can't even imagine how that's even possible now. Like we look back X amount of years, like what would my grandfather, he's no longer with us. He lived to be in his 90s, but like I'm thinking about what would he think about like seeing that type of day, or what would his grandparents say or his parents say to that? Like it's an amazing time.
And I think that happened because of COVID mostly too. Doing
Hmm.
virtual meetings like this was not a thing until 5 years ago during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We started this podcast during the pandemic.
Wow.
So it's
You were
like
bored out of your mind or what?
kind of. We were just like, well, I'm not working. We're just hanging out and chatting on Zoom anyways. Might as well record it, and then that's how it started. And then it
Wow.
evolved from there. Yeah. So it was
That's a
very
great
organic.
story.
We didn't really plan for this to happen this way too. So, um,
Mm.
you know, um, Saeed, do you have any more questions or thoughts on this?
Oh, I mean, I'm to be honest, I'm just enjoying the conversation. It's like I think maybe I wanna ask Adam if you can share with us like one interesting story that happened with one of your collaborations, since you mentioned that.
I'll give you one that just took place. So
Okay.
I cover a lot of conferences. So one of them that I cover like things like the Milk and Global conference in Beverly Hills. I've covered a ton of different conferences, and there was one happening in Miami. I don't know, this is like 2, 3 months ago now, something like that's called FII Priority. And one of my buddies out there, he's like, you got to come out to this. You got to come out to this. And I'm like, I don't know if I need another conference on the schedule. Right. So I do go out to it. It ends up being like this huge conference. And the president spoke. He was the opening keynote. Elon Musk, like all these people are there. And it's just like the CEO of TikTok, every big CEO pretty much is there in Miami. And I'm like, wow, how did Miami get this? It was an amazing thing. And then also a lot of individuals from Saudi. So that's kind of what funded and fueled this conference, and it's really definitely a global initiative, and it's in support of a lot of different initiatives that have to do with, I mean, everything from infrastructure to entertainment to, it's like a lot of different things and that fall under this umbrella. But one of the individuals that I interviewed out there and that I met at the conference, we started talking after the conference, and from there, he does a lot of work in Africa. So that's where I've never done really anything in Africa other than maybe some remote interviews. And from that connectivity and from that conference, there was a series that I've been pitching for a while now. And between him and the individuals over there that he knew in his contacts that he thought would be interested in, now that's going to come to reality. And that's a random like interview. I didn't know. I went to a random conference. Or is it random? I don't know. Like when you talk about, Saeed, about waiting for what's happening, or maybe, and I don't know if you used the word waiting, but the next break or the next thing. To me, as we kind of write this story, I would have never thought in a million years, I started this podcast and all of a sudden now I'm going over there to interview these individuals. And then next year, the plan is, I think we have interest from a minimum of 3 different African presidents that I'll be interviewing. Like, that's even crazy. Like, even just to say that, like,
Wow.
who was thinking that? I wasn't thinking that. And it was just kind of I believe it comes from being grateful in, what you have, and from doing the best to steward and utilize those assets, that time, that energy, and, any bit of talent you may have, and to be, and to be good with it and to continue to try to get better. And then other things just start happening. And the funny thing is, so to put some context in all this, when you look at, in my style of when I talk about going back to the history of all of entertainment, when you look at the greats, I mean the big ones, like the big boys, like the Johnny Carsons of the world, he was doing that for 30 years. He was interviewing people. It's insane. I'm only 9 years in.
Yeah.
That's nothing. And when you think about and when you think about your catalog, you're only 5 years in. You're over 500 interviews. That's insane. So as that builds over time, and then when you think about things like the longevity space, so just the fact that in theory, depending on, I would say probably the median will be this way, at least in the United States. I'll qualify that by saying the United States, that we're probably going to live longer. Longevity, advances in medicine, all the other things that are happening, like we're going to live longer, more than likely. So I was talking to somebody the other day and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be 100 years old still doing my podcast. That's funny. I won't be doing as many episodes, by the way. That'll cut down. We're going to cut down the schedule. But come on, think about it. Why would you, in the old days, you would quit because you were retired by a network or something, or like they had to do the next thing. But nowadays, assuming you're not, you're still lucid, you can still, you still got it, like, and you still want to, at what point in your life are you not going to want to have one remote Zoom call or whatever somebody's recording on? Never. I was like, when you're older, you're probably more like, depending on your relationship with your kids and your wife, you probably want to do more episodes because you ain't got you're lonely. Just depends, life works out different for different people, right? So you might be doing
True.
more episodes. So now you compound and think about that catalog over time. And that's when, getting back to what we talked about in the beginning, I'm like, some people are going to build generational wealth from this. And they're going to be telling stories about, oh yeah, you two will be talking about, oh yeah, it was during COVID and we just, we were just bored. We weren't working. We thought we'll start this little podcast, and things happen.
When you mean generational wealth,
Yeah.
like, what do you mean by that?
I mean real money. I mean real money. I mean, like, I don't mean like you have, I mean, tens of millions of dollars. I mean, real money. And and for some more. I'm just saying that it's money that your kids aren't going to have to worry about, like paying for college or anything else like that. It's when you start creating trust. By the way, my background was finance. I told you, almost 14 years. It's when you're creating trust, your kids are taken care of, and now you're creating trust for your grandkids. because the kids are already good.
Yeah.
It's when you're planning for multiple generations, either literally in estate planning. That's what that means. It means that you're fine, your next generation's fine, and you're already working on the grandkids, or the grandkids are fine too. And now you're thinking about giving away for philanthropy after that because you've covered all those bases. So that's what I mean. I mean, there's real money there. And then also thinking about the concept of you still have your show. So who knows? Maybe someone has a kid, whatever, the kids are going to take over other things like that. It doesn't mean just passing down money. It means passing down legacy. It means passing down IP. It means passing down lots of things that you're building that none of us, maybe I'll add myself to it, are even aware of yet, like of the power of what we're doing and how we're doing it, because the IP and what we're creating that's unique, that's really the only thing different than what AI, in my opinion, is going to be able to do and can do in many instances already. Like anything that has to use human effort at this point, I think is going to have more value in the future when it comes to this kind of stuff. I mean, specifically in creating content.
And speaking of generation wealth, isn't that like very stressful to think about and like work towards? I mean, you're thinking about not only taking care of yourself, but also your children and then also your grandchildren. So that's three generations at minimum that you are trying to build wealth for. And building wealth for yourself alone is holy shit, man. Like that's my reaction to that. Like
Yeah.
that's insane. But
Well,
doing it for
here's the cool
generations
part
and
about this though, is that for our particular niche, what are you doing? Do some more episodes, man. That's the cool part about it, is that I don't know another format. I don't know another format. Maybe there's one, but I don't know it. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm just saying I don't know another format that all you need to do is worry about your one episode a week. It doesn't necessarily take more work, but your downloads and your reach and all of the influence and the money can increase week over week with you doing what? Recording and distributing your episode. Now, sure, things get more complicated, of course. Like when I started, it was just myself and the other co-founder. Now we have a little over 35 working for us. And obviously there's, complications of running a business, right? Like that's a given.
yeah.
And that's why I said some people will create, but not everybody has to want to run a business. Some people might just do, their episodes, sell advertising, and call it a day, and they still do very, very well. So, depending on obviously how many downloads they're getting, things like that. But not saying that's easy. But in all reality, all you're still doing is recording an episode a week. If you choose to
That's true.
increase the investment, the time, all the other things, and build the infrastructure around it, then that's a choice, right? That you want to be a business owner and do some other things. But just as a content creator, there's so much room for money.
And so you also so your background is in finance and you do a
Mhm.
podcast where you also interview entrepreneurs and businessmen. Do you ever get business opportunities through your guests, or do you ever make
Oh
do you ever
yeah,
get like
so
connections
many
like that?
things have come from that. Of course, absolutely. That's just
Hmm.
savvy people. I mean, most of the products that we've ever launched were ideas from our guests. So the only reason we started launching shows for other individuals and not our own, we were never planning on being a podcast agency. It was because guests would come on, they saw how our show ran and they saw the efficiency and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, I've been on a lot of shows. Like, tell me more. Like, what are you guys doing over there? And it started from that to, well, I've always wanted to launch a podcast. Like, if I was to launch one, I'd want to launch it with you. What would that look like? And the first people that asked, I'm like, I don't know. We'd never launch for anybody else. We just do it for ourselves. And they're like, well, I'll be your guinea pig because I see what you're doing and you've built yourself and you've done this and this and this. So I'll be your first client. And so our initial clients, that's how we got them. That was a guest's idea. We published books too. And like I said, over 400 books there. That was, here goes an example of one. This was a guest idea, or this wasn't a guest idea. This was an idea based on the first book that I made, but it's an anthology series. And this is where essentially all of the different authors contribute a chapter. Those, I'd say 90% of them were guests on the show at some point, and they saw what we were doing, and they're like, oh, well, I want to be part of the book. Like, how do I get in? And so all of those things. So I think the conversations, and then if we think about just the ideas and the ability to build a business, like that was just knowledge from guests. I didn't go to business school. My major was international relations, so I didn't have that background. So, and my hope is, and I see the value in it, and this is also what keeps me strong, is that's just my personal story. If I think about, all the millions of downloads we have, I wonder how positively the show has affected other lives as well, like with that same information that helped me. So that's where it gets kind of interesting when you think about paying it forward, or even servant leadership and leading from the front like that. Like, that's where it's like, man, like, who knows, the next Elon Musk, the next this, the next that, they probably listened to an episode already and I don't even know it. And maybe one day I'll know, maybe I won't. If it's not, I'm not supposed to know, it doesn't matter. Like, that's fine. But I know I've been helped, so I'm sure other people have been helped as well.
Wow. I love how just natural it is, the way you're describing it. Like, it's not like you went out and looked for something, you didn't create the market. The market just kind of came to you. The demand was just, it came in the form of a question. I know I'm speaking in like economics terms,
Yeah.
But like that's kind of how business happens. You create, there's a demand for something, and then you provide the supply for it.
Yeah.
Um, and for you, it came just so organically, which
I won't
is
say
even,
that part. I won't use the word organically. I'll say that what I like, it's just like your blessings. It's just like the fact that this building doesn't fall on my head right now is a miracle. It's a freaking blessing. It's
yeah.
a miracle of engineering. So I believe everybody gets these blessings. It's just, do we take the time to acknowledge them and to like pause and to see it and to be thankful for that blessing and to act on it? So it's actually the execution. Everybody gets these all day long. All day long, people are getting these blessings in the form of business, personal life, all these things. But are we aware enough for it? I could have easily, in any of those moments that I said,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, or whatever, or I got busy or something else. So it was the execution piece. But the first step is really just trying to like tune. I still do this, like tune my senses into receiving the blessings that I'm getting and the people that are in my life. So me being on the show right now with you two and building our collaboration, we are now part of each other's legacy, like, period. If we never talk again, we're part of each other's legacy. So that to me is a blessing, like what we're creating today. And I'm grateful for that. And so more will come from that. And I don't have to like think about how or why or anything like that. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's already the blessing of us doing this isn't a miracle to me.
I love that approach. It's like it feels very soothing and like clean and pure. And I don't think there's a lot of people out there who think that way. Um, Something that I do want to ask about was, you mentioned awareness when it comes to like these miracles that happen in or blessings that happen in a person's
Yeah.
day. How, what suggestions or like advice would you give to someone for them to, you know, be more aware of these
Yeah.
blessings, or how to pay attention to these blessings more?
This isn't my words. This is something I started doing when I was young. And when I did it for many, many years, I haven't been doing it as much now. It's kind of ingrained and I do it all day, was the gratitude list. Wake up and just start training your mind, like physically. When you start just like lifting weights, you wake up and you start writing what you're grateful for. You do that every day. You do that every day. And then at some point it turned to more of a it's kind of like prayer. It is prayer is what it is. It's not kind of, it is prayer. So in
Yeah.
theory, and for those that are able to do it, like they're saying prayers in their head all day long. Like they're even saying, they meet a new person, they may be saying, bless you, I love you, in their head, not even saying it like during the conversation, they're saying it. So I think just cultivating that love inside of you, and like trying to, like, it started very rote. It started very, very rote routine. Just wake up, write your gratitude list. You don't even know why you're doing it, do it. And then over time that muscle builds, and then you can carry that gratitude or that love and that rest of that, like, into the rest of your day. Then when you're meeting people, you're spreading love to them without even having to say anything or necessarily even think it. And so that's over years and years of kind of like just doing that. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, by the way. Of course, I'm like, somebody cuts me off, I'm not thinking, oh, I love you. I'm grateful for what you just cut me off, or I'm grateful because you were making a left turn and you weren't pulled up far enough. And then, oh, I'm sorry, we're talking about yesterday. I couldn't make the left and now I'm stuck at the red. I don't feel that grateful for that. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not feeling grateful for that.
It's
but
LA
I will
traffic.
say,
Everyone's aggressive.
there you go.
Everyone
but I'm told some people are more evolved, and are okay in those situations than myself. But once you start doing that, and then you just kind of step back, and then if you're like, it's prayer all day is what it is. It's prayer all day long. And there's, I'm not claiming I'm the best at it, but I try to carry it with me. And the cool part about at least this business and podcasting is I feel like you get to have a moment of your life where whether you're doing one episode a week or a month or whatever it is, doesn't matter. You have a moment that you get to be like one-on-one in tune with a person. And that's just pretty rare in society. And let alone to be with somebody that you don't know, and that you're going to have, a real conversation with and go kind of deep with. That's just a different relationship than our current society, at least where I live, provides for. Like, we're not like in the, we're not going back to the Greek old days where we're all going and sitting around and like debating each other and trying to get like, and we're traveling from that ain't happening. Like, I ain't debating with you. We're lucky to get a scroll.
Hey, this is our version of whatever the Greeks did back in the day, where they used to wrestle.
It is. That's why I brought that up.
And bathing together and debating. And this
It's
is
podcast.
it, I guess.
Yeah, that next episode we'll all be sitting in a hot tub.
Greeks in hot tubs. That better not be the title of this.
No, I appreciate what you do, Adam, for real, because I was complaining about earlier about how hard it is to get ahead, or how to have a business succeed. And, with all the like news, I was thinking about like Epstein, and how about a bunch of people that are successful end up being not great or make monies in ways that exploit other people. I do believe there's ways to become successful and have that intergenerational wealth without exploiting other people. And this is an example of how to do that, right? Like doing something you love, that you're passionate about, sharing information with others, helping out everybody. I think that is, there is no downside to it. Yeah. It's just all upside. It's a win-win for everybody. We all get to collaborate and we all get to succeed from it. And I think these kinds of businesses are like so important right now. Yeah. And to spread the word about them, people need to be doing more things like this, So thanks, Adam. Syed, anything else? Thoughts on this or our time?
No, I think I've currently went into a blissful mental state at this point after a very amazing conversation we've had. Like, bro, I'm literally seeing rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and
that's what I'm talking about. Leave a review. No. Adam had me seeing rainbows and butterflies. Oh man, they're gonna be like, I didn't know this was. It's psychedelics. What was this interview about? I thought it was this guy's wearing a suit. What'd he give him? No, I didn't know it was that type of show.
Oh man, we'll send you the recording. We'll send you the clip of this, and then you can use it as a testimonial. But no, thank you, Adam, so much. Really, like, it's been a great conversation. Where can people find you and connect with you and collaborate with you?
Super simple. Ask Adam Torres on Instagram. If you're out there, you have a book idea, you're working on a show, you have a show. I mean, shoot me a DM. Love to talk about it. Love to see what you're working on. Ask Adam Torres on Instagram. There's a link in the bio where it goes to a link tree, and it has so much content, free stuff, ebooks, audio, you name it, it's all on there. I believe we give away more free content than any other company on the planet of our size. So definitely check it out. Ask Adam Torres on Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you again for being on the podcast.
Thanks,
And
Adam.
guys, thank you for watching. We're definitely grateful for you guys being on here. This is how we sign out. Salute to cover the camera and peace.
Out. Thank you.